confirm as Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Barko Shetima, representing Niger State, for appointment as Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Barko Shetima, representing Niger State, is hereby confirmed as a Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mr. Amosu Akintayo, representing Ogun State, for appointment as Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mr. Amosu Akintayo, representing Ogun State, is hereby confirmed as Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RANFRA. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Nathaniel Ado Juchelegon, representing Ondo State, for appointment as Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Nathaniel Ado.
President Bola Tinubu had appointed 21 federal commissioners to the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission pending their confirmation by the Senate. Meanwhile, Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State visited the site of the tragic tanker explosion in Majia Town, Taura local government area, on Wednesday morning, where 95 people were confirmed dead and over 50 others injured. Accompanied by top government officials, the governor expressed his condolences to the families of the victims at the scene of the incident. In addition to offering condolences, the governor pledged that the state's governments would take full responsibility for the medical treatment of the injured. He also assured the public that all necessary measures would be taken to provide support in the aftermath of the tragedy. The Jigawa State Police Command confirmed the tragic loss of life, stating that over 95 people perished and 50 others were seriously injured after a patrol tanker overturned in Majia village, leading to a massive explosion. The incident occurred around 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday, when locals gathered to scoop fuel from the fallen tanker before it ignited into flames. The Nigerian Senate has expressed shock over the deaths of over 100 people who were burnt to death while scooping fuel from a fallen truck near Dutse, the Jigawa State capital. The Senate equally called on the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials to surviving victims of the explosion. It also urged the National Orientation Agency to carry out adequate sensitization on the dangers of scooping fuel from fallen trucks. The Upper Legislative Chamber reached these resolutions on Wednesday after a debate on a motion sponsored by the Senate representing Jigawa North, Babangida Hussein.
The Senate is to note that on the night of 15th October, yesterday, a tanker fully loaded with petroleum motor spirit, PMS, called Petrol, exploded along Hadeji Expressway in Majia Town, located in Toro local government of Jigawa State, which is about 117 kilometers northeast of Dutse, the state capital. Also notes that this catastrophic inferno occurred around 10 p.m. when the residents of the area trooped out en masse to the accident scene to scoop fuel from the ill-fated tanker. And while this was on, the tanker exploded, resulting in massive fire, which was quite difficult to control by the available facilities in the area. Further notes that the explosion resulted in the death of about 100 people, whose bodies were burnt beyond recognition, leaving about 300 people with varying degrees of burns and are currently receiving treatments in Birnin Kudu Federal Medical Center, General Hospital Rengim, General Hospital Hadija, and
in a remark, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, warned Nigerians on the dangers in scooping fuel when such accidents occur.
Grant solace to the families of those who lost their loved ones, and then, of course, a general fidel to those who have departed. And I want to also pray that those in hospitals will also survive. However, I think we should also call on the state government to take proactive steps to save more lives. But may we rise for 1 minute silence in their honor.
The Senate's response underscores the urgent need for national action to prevent similar tragedies and save lives. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, has lamented the deaths of about 100 people following a Premium Motors Spirit tanker explosion in Jigawa State. Speaker Abbas, in a statement issued on Wednesday by his special advisor on media and publicity, Musa Abdullahi Krishi, said the incident was unfortunate. Scores of people were confirmed dead when a tanker conveying petrol exploded in Mejia Town Tower, local government area of Jigawa State on Tuesday night. Over 50 others also sustained various degrees of injuries and were hospitalized at the Ringim General Hospital. The driver was said to have lost control of the tanker, which left Kano en route to Nguru in Yobe State, leading to the accident. The Speaker lamented the deaths and injuries, describing the incident as terrifying. He condoled with the families of the deceased, while praying for those injured to have quick recovery. Speaker Abbas prayed for the repose of the souls of those who lost their lives. Meanwhile, the ENUGU State Ministry of Agriculture and Agro-Industrialization marked World Food Day, emphasizing the significance of food security and adequate nutrition for all. This year's theme, Rise to Food for a Better Life and Better Future, according to the Commissioner for Health and Agro-Industrialization, Patrick Ubru, resonates with the state government's efforts to ensure access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food for its citizens. The Commissioner highlighted the state's commitment to food security, which he said aligns with Governor Peter Ndubisi-Mba's initiatives towards safeguarding the right to food through policies and sustainable agricultural practices.
The commerce we are talking about is made available for the farmers. And he has also instituted that every farming state will have a processing cluster so that our farmers can prefer line of processing before taking it out to the market. And they know that when you nature the agricultural products, you need to have various other byproducts that will lead to the international community. And they have to use it and foreign currency. So our farmers should please keep their spirits high. They should not be discouraged.
Governor Peter Mba, who was represented by the Commissioner for Science and Technology, Lawrence Eze, reiterated the state's determination to boost its GDP and create a brighter future for ENUGU's citizens through agricultural investments.
We will not just support agriculture at the local level. Of course, you have heard from him, we're taking agriculture to the mechanized section, where you will not just only have the access of, farming your own subsisting farming at your own subsisting farming level, but you can farm at your subsisting farming level and at the same time engage yourself to work for one of these mega mechanized farmers that are coming into the state, earn more money to support yourself, to expand your own farming with your family.
The Global World Food Day celebration aims to promote awareness about hunger and malnutrition affecting 733 million people worldwide. By investing in agriculture and promoting sustainable practices, ENUGU State Government says it is taking a crucial step towards achieving food security and improving the lives of its citizens. Meanwhile, Governor Umaru Bago of Niger has reaffirmed the state's commitments to food security and sustainability for the state and the country at large. He said this at an event to commemorate the 2024 World Food Day with the theme Niger, a State Agricultural Revolution, Solution to Hunger and Better Health in Mina on Wednesday. Bago, represented by his deputy Yakubu Garuba, emphasized the need for collective efforts to combat hunger in the country and the world. He noted that Nigeria's economic realities, insecurity and climate change challenges has exacerbated food insecurity and threatened vulnerable populations. Bago said the states had taken initiative to enhance food security through climate-smart seed production, improved inputs availability, and digital platforms for extension services. Bago said that the state governments had procured 100 John Dairy tractors, 500 case tractors, 500 combined harvesters, and 10,000 hand tillers for smallholder farmers. He said the state had secured approval to establish a 3,000-hectare zone at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport, Mina, and partnered with global business conglomerates to boost agricultural produce and ensure food security. Earlier in his welcome address, Malam Musa Boso, Commissioner for Agriculture, acknowledged the current administration's significant strides in agricultural development under the new Nigeria agenda. Boso was presented by Dr. Matthew Ahmed. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry said the state had launched various programs to lead other states in food production and security as well as surplus for exports. Meanwhile, the Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC, has advised the federal government to introduce subsidy for farmers to boost food production in the country. The advocacy manager of the organization, Sabiu Shehu, gave the advice in an interview with newsmen on Wednesday in Jos. Shehu spoke in commemoration of the 2024 World Food Day, said that such a move would avert the looming food insecurity in the country. The advocacy manager, who said that food scarcity and hunger was becoming imminent in the country, called on the federal government to rise to the occasion to avert the catastrophe. Shehu said the NRC would continue to support farmers in the country towards boosting food production. The World Bank, Nutrition International, and other stakeholders has called for a multi-pronged approach to address the growing malnutrition crisis in Nigeria. They stressed that all hands must be on deck to implement interventions to combat malnutrition. The call was made at a 3-day collaborative meeting between the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and the state nutrition managers in Abuja. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, Nigeria ranks first on the continent and second in the world after India in terms of the number of malnourished children. Speaking at the event, senior health specialist at the World Bank, Dr. Rikak Tili Gado, stressed the need for a multifaceted approach and interventions to tackle malnutrition in Nigeria. She emphasized the need for a multifaceted approach and additional support to combat malnutrition, which would improve the health of the country's citizens. Country Director of Nutrition International, Dr. Osita Okonkwo, highlighted the needs to improve coverage of maternal, newborn, and child health care interventions. He also stressed the need for more funding and ensuring that MNCH campaigns are implemented at the right time to address malnutrition. Still to come, Nasu Sanu expressed displeasure over inauguration of Renegotiation Committee on 2009 agreement. Abakoba Rights National Assembly says EFCC is an unlawful organization. Do stay with us.
With gratitude to God for a life well lived. The Nze Felix Uwozalo family of Umobana Umwezane American Udi local government area of Enugu State announced the death of their beloved father, husband, brother, uncle, and in-law, late Nze Felix Uwozalo Kabonyadina. He was aged 102. Burial arrangements Thursday, 17th October, Christian wake at his residence, Umwezane American Udi local government area of Enugu State. Friday, 18th October, interment at his compound, Umwezane American then condolence visits. Sunday, 20th October, 8 a.m., outing Thanksgiving Mass at Christ the King Parish, He is survived by children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, siblings, in-laws, and many other relations. Keep resting in peace, Nze Kabonyadina, announcer, engineer Declan Uchenna Ugu for the family.
Welcome back. You're watching Global News. A civil society organization, Civil Rights Concern, has urged the Anambra State government to triple its efforts at revenue generation for the funding of our 2024 budget. The Executive Director of Civil Rights Concerns, Oke Onyeka, stated this in the press briefing in Oka on the 2024 second quarter Anambra State's budget performance review. Correspondent Ndu Opaleze has the report.
According to him, the state independent revenue increased from 8.2 billion naira to 10.3 billion naira, which he referred to as the best since the state was created in 1991. Onyeka, however, expressed fear that 410 billion naira 2024 Anambra State budget might become unrealistic if recurrent revenue does not grow faster.
It's the government is really struggling to be able to meet up with the expectations. And we having projected about 34 billion naira on loans and about 249 billion naira on internal generated revenue. That's what they call independent revenue. It means that he knows ab initio from the beginning that he may not really realize the entire revenue to implement the budget size of 410 billion naira. So for the second quarter, really, the government has been able to garner only 153 billion from the internal generated revenue. And if you on the recurrent revenue made up of internal generated revenue and the federal FAC account, Federal Allocation Account Committee transfers.
On the total projected capital expenditure of 313.9 billion naira, Onyeka said civil rights concern noticed that implementation within the 2 quarters is 66.7 billion naira, which is 21.3%. He said even if the state is able to achieve the same percentage within the remaining 2 quarters, it could at best do 50%, rating that as barely a pass mark. Civil rights concern says unless Soludo takes the loan already provided for in the budget, it will have to further prioritize its spendings to achieve key development results. The group remarked that government has so far prioritized road infrastructure, housing and health, with education ranking the 7th. He, however, believed education will take a pride of place when spendings under the Universal Basic Education are captured for review.
So far, I think that's the best so far the state has been able to generate since the creation. Government has never generated that level of revenue on the current account, and although we say nominally, that's the case. If you discount it, it might be less. But in terms of the amount, that's the highest the state has actually generated. We praise the government for that. They've been able to plug a number of loopholes, but they still need to do more in terms of plugging loopholes of revenue leakages so that they'll be able to meet up with the kind of targets. And the government has not actually demonstrated their appetite to borrow money, at least the 2 quarters. It's still hoping that maybe some miracle will happen and to be able to get more money to fund its budget. And again, we noted that the government has been emphasizing about the key projects the MDs want to do. They say choose 5 key projects that if you do not do it, maybe the government will collapse. And that's the way they program their budget. So if it wants to fund only the key projects, well, it may meet the targets you want to meet. But if it's in terms of the 410.1 billion naira budget size, it's most unlikely to happen.
Onyeka submitted that all leakages in revenue collection by government must be closed to increase the independent revenue and brighten the chances of better performance in capital projects.
The Special Advisor on Health to Lagos State Governor, Dr. Olukemi Ogunyemi, has enjoined nurses to embrace research and digital innovations to improve their healthcare delivery services and the relevance in the profession. Ogunyemi gave the advice at the maiden scientific conference on the College of Nursing Sciences, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LUCI, in collaboration with the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria on Wednesday in Lagos. The conference has a theme, Advancements in Nursing Education and Clinical Practice, Integrating Research, ICT Resuscitation for Optimal Patient Outcomes. Ogunyemi said nurses need to continuously be educated, learn new skills and be abreast with new technologies and developments in the profession for better delivery of their services. She emphasized the need for interprofessional collaboration and continuous training of the nurses, encouraging the nurses to embrace telemedicine to be able to excel as the profession evolves. According to her, research not only uniforms evidence-based practices but also encourages interdisciplinary collaborations, which is key to advancements of the nursing profession. On his part, the Chief Medical Director of LUCI, Dr. Wasiu Adeyemo, urged the college to intensify efforts to sustain the program, assuring commitments of the hospital to giving them all the needed support. Adeyemo said that the hospital management in due course would be giving research grants to the college to encourage research findings. The chairman of the Caucasian, Dr. Oluwatosin Olatunjoye, urged the nurses to always render their services with much empathy, commitment, passion, and honesty. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, and the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, have agreed to enhance collaboration for traffic management and motorist safety on Lagos roads. This is contained in a statement signed by Taufik Adebayo, Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Departments of LASMA on Wednesday in Lagos. The agreement was reached when the newly appointed sector commander of the FRSC Lagos sector, Ganiyu Hamzat, paid a courtesy visit to the general manager of LASMA, Olaleko Bakare Oki. Adebayo said Hamzat articulated the shared mission of both agencies, which was centered on the seamless movements of vehicular traffic and the safety of roads users throughout the bustling metropolis. He noted Bakare Oki's unwavering commitment to strengthening interagency cooperation with the FRSC. He added that Bakare Oki reaffirmed LASMA's dedication to refining traffic operations across Lagos, citing ongoing efforts to enhance the professionalism and operational standards of its personnel. Meanwhile, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Education and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities has expressed displeasure over the inauguration of a renegotiation committee by the federal government. The committee was inaugurated to renegotiate the contentious 2009 agreement with university-based unions. The Joint Action Committee, JSC, of both unions said this in a statement jointly signed by Peter Adeyemi, General Secretary of the NASU, and Mohammed Ibrahim Sanu, President, on Wednesday in Abuja. The renegotiation committee was inaugurated on Tuesday by the Minister of Education. The JSC said that the unions were not given the due recognition. According to the statement, the GAC of NASU and SANU strongly expressed its displeasure at the inauguration of a renegotiation committee of the 2009 agreements with university-based unions on October 15th. It said that the preferential treatment given to the ASU leadership at the inauguration was unfair to the other unions. It said that it was also obvious that NASU and SANU were only invited as mere spectators to give a semblance of legitimacy and acceptability to an already concluded renegotiation exercise. It further said that the president of ASU alone was invited to give a response on behalf of other unions without consultation. A former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olisa Abakowa, SAN, says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is an unlawful organization. Abakowa stated this in two separate letters to the Senate and the House of Representatives dated October 14th, and a certified true copy of it made available to newsmen on Wednesday in Abuja. The two letters were addressed separately to the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barau Jibril, and the Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu. The duo double as Chairman, Senate Committee on Constitution Review and Chairman, House Committee on Constitution Review. The senior lawyer said he strongly believed that the EFCC was unconstitutionally established. He drew the attention of the National Assembly to constitutional issues relating to the law enforcement agencies in the country and factors inhibiting the government's objective of abolishing corruption as stated in Section 13 of the 1999 Constitution. He said that he was delighted to note that many states had finally taken it upon themselves to challenge the constitutionality of the EFCC, saying this will put to rest the question relating to the validity of the EFCC. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, says FCT is open for business and streamlining processes to make it easier for investors to set up and operate. Wike says this in Abuja on Wednesday at the first edition of the Abuja Business and Investment Summit 2024 with the theme, Optimizing Investments Through Partnership. The summit was organized by the Abuja Investments Company Limited. The minister said that the FCT administration has undertaken significant measures to create an enabling environment for local and foreign investors. It said that the AICL and the Abuja Enterprise Agency have facilitated partnerships and supported investors and would provide necessary guidance to investors at every step of their investment journey. He noted that the role of security in attracting investors, saying the safety of the investors' investments is their top priority. Wike said that besides infrastructure and security, the FCT administration has also focused on fostering innovation and entrepreneurship through inauguration of several initiatives to empower small and medium enterprises, SMEs. He added that the SMEs, which he described as the backbone of the nation's economy, were accessing funding, training, and resources. He expressed optimism that the summit would exemplify the FCT administration's commitment to fostering an investment-friendly environment in the nation's capital. He said that the theme of the summit resonates deeply with the vision for the FCT as a thriving hub for business and innovation. Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has begun sensitizing youths and aspiring entrepreneurs about the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce activities and investment potentials. The chamber is an initiative of the NDDC aimed at repositioning the capital and investment potential in the Niger Delta region. NDDC Managing Director Samuel Oboku said the chamber would help train youth, aspiring entrepreneurs, and support small and medium-scale enterprises in the state. Oboku was represented by the Edo State Director of NDDC, Mercy Babawale. Oboku said that the workshop was organized to create awareness about the existence of the organization, whose objective was to find lasting solutions to the challenges plaguing businesses in the Niger Delta. He stated that the NDDC had side-designed the Chambers of Commerce as a development tool, recognizing the positive impact it could have on business communities. The Managing Director of Nigerian Communications Satellites Limited, Jane Ejetan Idehe, has reaffirmed the organization's commitments to replacing the NICOMSAT 1R satellite before its lifespan ends in 2026. Ejetan Idehe disclosed this at the news conference to mark the beginning of the Nigerian Satellite Week in Abuja on Wednesday. She emphasized the importance of satellite technology in advancing Nigeria's digital future. The NICOMSAT 1R, which was launched in 2011, has delivered substantial services to Nigeria's telecom and broadcast sectors, saving billions in foreign exchange. Ejetan Idehe said the week, which has empowered Nigeria's digital future, innovations in satellite technology and entrepreneurship as its theme, would demonstrate the transformative potential of satellite technology across the sectors of the nation's economy. According to her, the week-long events aims to foster collaboration among stakeholders, from industry experts to policymakers, with the goal of making satellite technology a cornerstone of Nigeria's sustainable development. NICOMSAT boss urged all the participant stakeholders and partners to fully engage during and after the event. Still to come, Israel says Lebanon negotiations will only be held under fire. NATO's route aware of Ukraine victory plan, discussing next steps. Do stay with us. Welcome back. This is Global News with Charles. The White House on Wednesday said automotive manufacturing company Stellantis should deliver on commitments made to the United Auto Workers UAW union and communities affected by plant closures in the United States. The deal reached between the UAW and Stellantis includes a commitment to reopen and expand production in communities that were devastated by previous plant closures. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says.
So look, last year, as you know, we applauded UAW and also Stellantis for coming together after hard, good faith, which is what we always love to see, negotiations, and also reaching a historic agreement that secured record raises, greater retirement security, and investment in the future. And so that included a commitment to reopen and expand production in communities that were devastated by previous plant closures. And so, look, what we want to see is Stellantis certainly deliver on those commitments to the UAW and to the communities. And so not just any communities, but communities that have long supported the industry. That's what we want to see. And so we want Stellantis to keep their commitment. Again, we were very proud to see that very good faith negotiation that occurred and what was delivered. And so that's what we want to see at the end of the day.
Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Shanghai Cooperation Organization Secretary General SCO said on Wednesday that the SCO meeting in Islamabad covered a wide area of cooperation. Holding a joint press conference with SCO Secretary General Zhang Ming, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said some areas of cooperation agreed upon during the meeting were economic, trade, climate change, and public health. SCO head Zhang Ming said that the concept of cooperation on the development of a new economic dialogue among the SCO member states was adopted at the meeting, aiming to strengthen the momentum of SCO economic and trade cooperation.
The joint communique of the Council of Heads of Government, signed just now by the leaders of the SCO member states, is a comprehensive document covering a wide area of cooperation in the fields of economy, trade, industry, investment, technology development, transport and connectivity, climate change, public health, culture, poverty alleviation, women and youth empowerment, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, during the past 1 year, through this joint communique, the SCO leaders have affirmed their resolve to further strengthen their cooperation in these spheres to build a peaceful, safe, prosperous, and environmentally friendly planet Earth. The communique also stresses the importance of improving the global economic governance system and establishing a multilateral trading system that is open, transparent, fair, inclusive, and non-discriminatory, promoting the growth of a global economy for a shared and equitable future. The commitment by all SCO member states.
The concept of cooperation on the development of a new economic dialogue among the SCO member states was adopted at the meeting. It is aimed to strengthen the momentum of SCO economic and trade cooperation.
Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif met with his Russian counterpart Mikhail Mishustin on Wednesday on the sidelines of the SCO event in Islamabad. Pakistan's Army Chief General Azim Munira was also present at the meeting. According to a press release from Sharif's office, both leaders agreed to pursue robust dialogue and cooperation in the areas of trade, industry, energy, connectivity, science, technology, and education. Pakistan is hosting the 23rd Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Council of Heads of Governments meeting. The SCO meeting is the highest profile event hosted by the South Asian nation in years. 7 prime ministers, including Chinese Premier Li Qiang, are attending. Meanwhile, Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon told reporters at the UN headquarters on Wednesday that Israel was working with its partners to ensure aid reaches those who need it in Gaza.
Israel will continue to take all necessary steps to protect our citizens from threats, both inside and outside our borders. We will do whatever is necessary to dismantle Hezbollah's terrorist infrastructure and ensure that the displaced in the north can safely return to their homes. We hear a lot of accusations about humanitarian efforts in Gaza, so I want to make it clear. Over 1 million tons of aid have been delivered via more than 50,000 trucks, including over 700,000 tons of food. The problem in Gaza is not lack of aid. The problem is Hamas, which hijacks the aid, stealing, storing, and selling it to feed their terror machine while civilians suffer. Despite all these challenges, Israel continues to uphold international law, going above and beyond our obligations. We are working with our partners to improve the situation, but you have objective obstacles on the ground. And the example I gave you right now, that as we speak, you have 500 trucks that pass the Israeli checkpoints, but the aid is not being delivered. It's being wasted, it's being waiting there, because you have problems of truck drivers, of people who don't want to drive. So the blame is not on Israel, the blame is on Hamas, and we have to acknowledge that. You know, there is no shortage of aid. When you look at the amount of aid that is being delivered into Gaza, the problem is with the logistics to make sure it goes to the people who need it and not to the hands of the Hamas. So I think, you know, the distribution of aid is a challenge. And I know many of our partners are discussing it with us, because you look at the amount of money that is being spent, amount of aid that is being delivered, and still we are discussing the challenges, and there are challenges in Gaza today. So I think, yes, it is important to have this discussion. I don't think we have the desire to be the one who are actually handling distribution of aid inside Gaza. Our long-term goal is not to stay in Gaza. I think in the future we will stay in the area and we will make sure that security is being held properly, but we have no desire to be the one running the daily life in Gaza. I think the main challenge is what you do with Hamas. They are trying to stay in power, and in order to support the population, you have to remove Hamas. So I think that the challenge we have to realize that there will be no prosperity for the people in Gaza.
Meanwhile, Britain's Foreign Secretary said on Wednesday that his country, along with France and Algeria, had called an urgent meeting at the United Nations Security Council to discuss the humanitarian situation in Gaza. David Lammy said in a statement, Israel must ensure civilians were protected and routes were open to allow life-saving aid through, and the United States Nations meeting would address these issues. Israel will not stop fighting and now weaken Hezbollah before it can safely return its citizens to their homes near the Lebanese border, and any ceasefire negotiations will be held under fire, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said on Wednesday. Gallant told brigade commanders at the border in a video released by Israel's defense ministry that the Hezbollah is in great distress. Israel in recent weeks has assassinated Hezbollah's senior leadership and pushed into southern border towns, saying it wants to dismantle Hezbollah's infrastructure to allow tens of thousands of Israelis to return home to Israel's north. Rubble and remains of the destroyed municipal headquarters in Nabathiyat, a major town in South Lebanon, filled the streets after Israel launched an airstrike on the building on Wednesday, killing the mayor and at least 5 others. The attack raised fears that Israel's expanding air campaign designed to crush Iran-backed Hezbollah could increasingly include public officials and buildings, which so far have been spared. Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati condemned the attack on the provincial capital, saying it intentionally targeted a meeting of the municipal council to discuss the city's service and relief situation. It was the most significant Israeli hit yet on a Lebanese state building since it launched its offensive 2 weeks ago, and came despite U.S. concerns about rising death tolls and fears of all-out war in the region. The health ministry said 6 people had been killed, with the interior minister confirming the deaths of the mayor. Israel's military said on Wednesday it struck dozens of Hezbollah targets in the Nabathiyat area and dismantled underground infrastructure, while its navy also hit dozens of targets in the southern Lebanon in cooperation with troops on the ground. Any deployment of U.S. nuclear weapons to Japan in the framework of an Asian NATO would lead to a collapse in regional stability, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Wednesday. Japan's new Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, on the eve of taking office, outlined a plan to revamp Tokyo's closest alliance by locking Washington into an Asian NATO and stationing Japanese troops on U.S. soil. The new security alliance, Ishiba said, could even share control of Washington's nuclear weapons as a deterrent against Japan's nuclear-armed neighbors. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Wednesday that Moscow would retaliate against Norway over Oslo's decision to cut Russian diplomatic staff. Russia's embassy in Norway said on Monday it was reducing its consular staff to 2 in accordance with a demand submitted by Norwegian authorities. Norway's foreign ministry said on Wednesday there had been a dialogue with Russia over time to ensure a diplomatic presence in both countries. Meanwhile, a Russian military officer who had recently returned from fighting in Ukraine has been assassinated in what looks like an organized hit in the Moscow region. The TASS state news agency reported on Wednesday, citing a law enforcement source. Footage released on Wednesday by a Russian investigative committee showed investigators working at the crime scene near a crashed car the victim was driving. TASS said law enforcement sources believed the killer had waited for the serviceman's car before striking. NATO chief Mark Rutte said he was aware of the details of the Ukraine's victory plan that was presented by the country's president on Wednesday, and that he was in touch with the alliance's member countries on the next steps, while reiterating a position that the process of making Ukraine a future NATO member, a key demand of the President Volodymyr Zelensky, was irreversible. Rutte said the victory plan included other elements that he was discussing the full plan with members.
Yeah, well, on the victory plan, this is clearly Ukraine's victory plan, which we, of course, take note of. We will discuss. There are many items on that agenda which we will have to really deepen out, understand what is behind it. This is something which will take place behind closed doors, also with allies. So I will not comment on every element in the plan, but it is of course a strong signal from Zelensky and his team that they designed this plan, that they are now taking it forward. That doesn't mean that I here can say I support the whole plan. that would be a bit difficult because there are many issues, of course, you have to understand better, and you will have maybe some different views on particular aspects of the plan. But that doesn't say that we are not standing squarely behind Ukraine in making sure that Putin is not getting his way and that Ukraine prevails in this war with Russia. On the financial pledge, I'm delighted to report that we are firmly on track to delivering the 40 billion pledged for the coming year as agreed in Washington. I can announce today that NATO allies committed 20.9 billion euros in military assistance to Ukraine during the first half of 2024. And allies are on track to meet their commitments for the rest of the year. So the message is clear. NATO is delivering for Ukraine, and we will continue to do so. Well, clearly, the victory plan we discussed. We are also discussing it with allies. It will no doubt also be on the table this week when, of course, we have on Thursday the meeting between Ukraine and NATO on Thursday night with the defense ministers. As you know, at the NATO summit, allies agreed that Ukraine's path to membership is irreversible. And Ukraine is closer to NATO than ever before.
And that's the news this hour. I'm Charles Pice. Thanks for watching. Join me in another few minutes. It's about 6 minutes for the morning show. It's going to be an interesting one, so join us at that time.
Poverty has posed a very big threat to humanity these days, and each day everyone strives to survive, and I hope you are striving to survive. Today is International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. Yes, today is also Thursday, the 17th day in the month of October. Good morning and welcome to Signature Morning on Signature Television. My name is Belinda Mwabada.
My name is Charles Pius. I really appreciate you for joining us today. The World Day for Eradication of Poverty. It's so interesting given that just yesterday we also commemorated with the World Food Day. Does that give you any sense of the fact that things are coming back, back to back as relates to World Food Day and then the eradication of poverty? But of course, somehow they are both related. If you don't have good food, you attempt to be poor. And according to the recent statistics, we have over 125 million Nigerians that are multi-dimensionally poor. Where do we start from? What is the government doing about it? It does look like the government is largely doing so little to mitigate the poverty level. It's crazy. Welcome, everybody. We're going straight to the headlines of the dailies this morning. Just stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Signature Morning. Let's go straight into the headlines. On the Punch first this morning, NNPC still sole Dangote petrol buyer, says marketers. That's on the Punch newspaper. Still on the Punch, Nigeria's high interest rate will stay for long, says World Bank. PDP may postpone NEC meeting. Governors plot Damagom's exit. CBN, SEC sanction 10 banks for forex violations. Fuel price hike. Reps warn of unrest as federal government's labor meeting deadlocked. With the rider, government plans fresh meeting with union leaders as reps demand petrol price review. And still on the Punch, tears as Jigawa buries 153 tanker explosion victims. Trucks burned in Ogun. 25% of development levy for students' loans, says federal government. Ogun communities, residents relocate as flood water rises. Naira weakens to 1,705 naira to a dollar at a parallel market. Well.
All right, let's move ahead to the Vanguard newspapers this morning. Just above the mass, we are addressing outstanding balance of FX backlog. That's from CBN.
Federal government, Labour agree on how to crush transport fares, food prices.
Tragedy in Jigawa, petrol tanker explosion kills 147.
Sanwo-Olu, Anyoku, Oshoba. Others eulogize late Iwanyawu.
Okay, Excellence Award endorsement for Ondo Governor Aiyedatiwa. All right, to the Guardian newspapers this morning. Opposition in disarray as internal crisis better PDP, LP, NMPP. That's on the page 6.
Revert to old petrol price, reps tell presidency.
You need consistent policies to attract foreign capital, JP Morgan tells Nigeria.
Senate probes impeachment rumor as presidency declares no leadership vacuum.
40 CSOs seek dismissal of governor's suit against EFCC and NFIU.
Nigeria lost 855,625 metric tons of crops to flooding in 2024, says FAO.
To the nation this morning, federal government offers a 10 billion naira calm loan to facilitate CNG conversion.
Calm loan?
Just be calm for the moment.
Take it, just calm. Okay, fair enough. Minimum wage, Lagos fixes 85,000 naira, Delta 77,500 naira.
Edo governor-elect raises the alarm over looting of government funds and assets.
Oil magnates sues EFCC for unlawfully declaring him wanted.
Labour leaders, federal government meet in continuous engagement.
Well, I hope this engagement somewhat. I mean, we have two papers saying totally different things. One is saying that the meeting is deadlocked. The other one says that they have agreed to crash prices of transportation and then food prices, because again, that's actually one of the major issues. Food prices today, I mean, you go to the market to buy food this week, next week, the same food you bought last week, totally different price in terms of, the increase. And then it's not like the income is even increasing that way. Anyways.
All right, to the Daily Trust newspapers this morning. Grieving families recount incident as over 120 buried. With the rider, I lost 4 children. 5 Alamdirai, policemen among victims. NMEA urges members to offer help. Tinubu governors, speaker, others mourn.
Lawmakers demand reversal of petrol price hike.
The way you stress on that reverse. Okay, let's see the outcome today. Senate investigates alleged plots to impeach Akpabio.
Reps to Tinubu transmit 2025 budgets to National Assembly without further delay.